incredibly busy. And there was a moment in the beginning where you were able to speak to some of us reporters. And then very early on, it was clear. I think our last interview was me walking and talking with you, and you just talking about the defense that you were building. And that was it after that.
Yeah, we were pretty shut down during the trial by design. You know, we had asked the judge actually for a little bit of a gag order, and the judge gave it to us. So we had to and wanted to sort of abide by that and kind of keep it, you know, out of the press. I mean, try the case in the courtroom, which we feel that we did.
So, of course, I want to start with July 2nd.
Okay.
You go up to the microphone. There's about a dozen microphones there. Everyone's smiling.
Right.
You step up first. You're the lead attorney for this case.
Mm-hmm.
Today is a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You said you saw this coming.
Yeah, I saw it coming.
That morning.
I did. I saw it coming. I saw it coming that morning when the jury said that they had verdicts on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but not on count 1. I thought that it must be that they split on the Mann acts on the one side and then the sex trafficking on the other side, because if it would have been all the way one or the other, they would have agreed, I think, on the racketeering conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess was that they convicted him of the prostitution, the Mann Act counts, and acquitted on the sex trafficking.
Take me back to just that moment, because I've heard you talk about how you didn't really sleep a lot during this trial.
True.
And that you typically don't sleep a lot to begin with. But what went into this case? It had to be, I'm sure, the most publicized in the 35 years that you've been practicing law.
True. Yes, definitely the most publicized of my entire career, by a long way. I mean, Ranieri was publicized, Martin Shkreli was publicized. I've been blessed to have a lot of cases that people care about, but nothing close to this. And the press was every little thing. I mean, I thought the press was very aware of what was going on in the courtroom. They covered it very closely. I thought they covered it actually fairly accurately. And so.
Top of the AM, everybody. You already know the vibes. We got Diddy's attorney, Marc Agnifilo, CBS extended interview with my girl, Jerika Duncan. Shout out to her. Spent a lot of days at the trial together. And we have the trial verdict reaction and breakdown. Salute to everybody in the building. Ted, I see you. We're just going to take a little quick listen in. Let's listen to Marc, and we could get into a breakdown if we want to. Maybe even drop the links and we could join in and have a little conversation on this. Feel me? Salute to everybody. Make sure y'all all dropping likes. Make sure y'all all hitting the poll.
It was a tremendous amount of preparation, a lot of pressure trying to keep the team together, a lot of pressure because, you know, Sean Combs, I mean, I believed in my heart that he was innocent. You know, the prostitution's tricky, but we're still sort of fighting that. And so there's a lot of pressure to win. And that's what this was all about.
For people who were not inside the courtroom, there was cheering, praying, celebration. There was a moment where Combs had his hand up, and in real time, we're watching as a decision is made and he's not going to speak. It seemed like he wanted to say something in that moment. Is that true, or what was going on?
I think he did. I think he wanted to speak to the judge. I think he's not someone who's used to people speaking on his behalf. I mean, I think he became Sean Combs, you know, and he built all the things that he built by being the front and center guy. And this was a real adjustment for him. And so I think it's not natural for him to sit back and let others speak on his behalf. But we also told him that was best and that's what was going to happen. And he agreed.
Was this the most challenging case that you've ever tried in your career?
That's a great question. It's up there. I mean, I've had missile trafficking, you know, trials. I've had political corruption trials. When I was a prosecutor, I prosecuted serial killer hitmen, you know, so they're all different. This was probably the most difficult in terms of getting the team together. I never had a defense team like in this case. And I was lucky to have such a great group of lawyers, but
From all over the country.
from all over the country. I mean, we had Brian Steele and Nicole Westmoreland from Atlanta. I mean, gifted, great lawyers. You know, we had Xavier Donaldson, Alexander Shapiro, Jason Driscoll, Anna Esteval, you know, me and Tenny. And so we really had this great group of lawyers, but we needed a leader, you know, and I'm not really a natural leader. I'm just not. I'm a trial lawyer. You know, it's different. It's a different skill set. And I've never really tried to be a leader or had to be a leader. I'm a soldier, you know, and I'm proud to be a soldier. So this was a different role. And I had to kind of like step into the role. I mean, I kind of saw my team needed that. And we needed harmony. We needed, you know, we have great lawyers who are used to all being front and center. You know, we all needed, including myself, we have to leave our egos at the door. You know, we have to do what's best for Mr. Combs. And so that was challenging. And then, you know, the government was very well prepared. They had 6 outstanding prosecutors. I mean, it's a marquee case for what many say is the best prosecutor's office maybe in the world, the Southern District of New York. And this is probably their biggest case of the, you know, not so new century. And so it was high stakes. It's, you know, it's Game 7 in Yankee Stadium. And so it's pressure.
The stakes are still high. Presently,
True.
just this week, the judge, Arun Subramanian, said no to bail. Second time that he's done this.
It's true.
How many times have you sought bail for Sean Combs?
So I've counted because I've never been 0 for 5 in a case in my career. And I've tried to get bail for Mr. Combs 5 times, and I'm 0 for 5. So, I mean, I made the Yankee Stadium reference. If I was up at bat and 0 for 5, you know, outing is not so great.
Does that hurt you later with sentencing, just because you have made these arguments over and over again, obviously with different judges, but with this judge twice, and more recently, the judge cited evidence of violence and coercion, and said that concerns about Combs' safety, the judge said that he acknowledged the staff had been able to keep him safe even during an incident of threatened violence from an inmate. So in your opinion, you speak to Sean Combs often. What is going on at the Metropolitan Detention Center that you're saying you believe he's in danger?
So he's a very public personality, and it was a very public trial. I think that there is always the risk that some people are going to be envious or jealous, maybe jealous that he might be going home before they do. And so, you know, I think it's been more challenging for the outstanding staff at the MDC to kind of step up, do the things that they need to do to keep, you know, Mr. Combs safe. And they've been doing that, and they've been outstanding with us. And I know that they get their, you know, more than their share of grief from time to time, but they've been very, very good with us and very, very good with Mr. Combs. And I really appreciate the way they've handled things. But it's
Had
a
you brought
challenging
that issue up
situation.
before, though, or is this something that had been building because of recent incidents? You talked about in your document, you said that there was an inmate that was stabbed just above Combs. So help us understand sort of from September of 2024 to now how things have changed and why that's something that you brought up.
I think that's largely the other stabbing. I think is largely anecdotal. I don't know that it has anything to do with our case or Mr. Combs. I think it does not have anything to do with it.
Okay.
But what I've seen, you know, and what he tells me is that it's a little different ever since the verdict, you know, and maybe it's because he's perceived
Good or bad?
A little more tense, not from the staff, but from certain people, other inmates. And so, you know, I think that there are a lot of people who really support him among the inmate population. I think a lot of inmates take faith and heart in the fact that someone has won. I mean, all they really tend to see is they lose. You know, you go to trial and you lose, and that's what they see. And so the fact that Mr. Combs won his trial largely, you know, not completely, of course, I think is seen as giving everybody a little bit of hope. That being said, I think that there's lots of different ways people can feel.
What about this consistent thread that Judge Subramanian continues to say? The judge has said the first time when he denied bail that there was an issue of violence and coercion, and he used those same words this week. Your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, he was convicted of, I mean, he was acquitted of coercion. I mean, that was the sex trafficking count, and a jury of 12 New Yorkers acquitted him of that. Now, I don't think that is going to play a role at the sentencing because he's being sentenced on straight prostitution. But in terms of
the violence, though, which you acknowledged in court when
Right.
you opening statements,
Yeah.
not from you, but Tenny,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is not about racketeering conspiracy. Was there domestic violence?
There-
Absolutely.
No
You
question.
own that.
We owned it. We owned it then. We own it now. I mean, I said it in the closing, and I say it now. You know, that it's large. It's in the past for the most part. You know, there's one event that happened in the summer of 2024 where the woman called Jane admits that she provoked, you know, something that ended up being violent on both sides. His relationships were toxic. He's not proud of that. You know, there was mutual violence, but that doesn't excuse a man being violent toward a woman ever. And we never said that it did. And so at the end of the day, he started seeking help, counseling. He was in a program before he was arrested in this case. He was productive. He was going, you know, I'm in touch with the people in the program. And I think that when he gets out, he's going to start that again. I mean, the programming at the MDC is not great. It's really almost non-existent. So we've put together, you know, therapists and people who go in and speak to Mr. Combs. And
how often?
Every 2 weeks. I mean, you know, it's you know, pretty regular. And we did it during the trial, but you know, before the trial as well. And so and I think it's helpful. I mean, I think it's what he needs. You know, I mean, I was in the DA's office when I was 25 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably had 200 cases. I bet 30 of them were domestic violence, mostly committed by men. And so this is a well-worn path, you know, in the criminal justice system of men being violent with their domestic partners. And I think the best way to deal with it is, you know, is therapy, counseling. You know, a lot of times their partners don't want them to go to jail. You know, they want them to get help. They want them to get better. They want them to be the men that they fell in love with, you know, and that's really what I want for Mr. Combs.
When's the last time you spoke to him?
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Today.
What did he say?
We were just talking about, you know, sentencing and, you know, and some of the questions you're asking about, you know, what does the judge's ruling on bail, how does that relate to sentencing? And I explained to him it really is two completely different things, and it's two different sort of bodies of laws and rules. So, you know, the bases by which a judge can keep someone in jail are very different than the bases on which the judge sentences the person.
Do you speak to him every day?
Every day, several times a day.
Does he know you're doing this interview?
You know, I think he does, but not from me.
Okay.
I think he was told.
Is there anything that he can say that he wanted to get through, because you are now speaking more publicly about the case and just sort of what's next? But maybe a better question, what is it that Sean Combs wants people to know? Because he's, you know, limited to what he can say.
Yeah. So he wants people to know that I think that he has reflected on the blessings that he's been given, on the imperfections that I think he sees in himself, just like we all have. I think he wants to be a better, more present father than he's ever been. I think he wants to start small. I think he wants to get out of jail, reestablish, you know, a loving, present relationship with all of his 7 children. He wants to take care of his mother. His mother is she's going to get mad at me. She's getting older, you know, but she's beautiful and fashionable as always. But he wants to get back in his life. You know, I think the larger goals are down the road. You know, does he want to get back into music? Does he want to get back into business? I think he's someone who is always going to strive to do something, you know, exceptional and probably demanding and challenging. But I think the most demanding and challenging thing in front of him right now is to get back with his kids and get back with his mother and the people who love him and miss him.
So he's talked to you about getting back into music if he's released, if he's free?
No, honestly, he has not.
Okay.
One thing he said, he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
He said that?
He did. He said to me, he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden.
Doing what?
I guess being on stage, you know, I mean, and I said, I'll be there. I mean, I want to be right in the front. So we'll see. We'll make it happen.
So you talk to him every day. How long do these conversations typically last?
Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 15 minutes, usually several times a day. Either on this something called the VTC. It's like a Zoom setup. I go see him. I'm going to see him tomorrow morning. So I spend a lot of time physically with him in the jail, but also on these videos.
Mark, I know there's been so much celebration about what he was acquitted of, but he's still facing 2 felony convictions. Each count carries up to 10 years behind bars. Are you preparing him for the worst, or are you optimistic that he's not going to get a lot of time, if any time, or he'll get a pardon?
Right. The pardon, that's not my end of the business. I know really, really nothing about that.
But you're the lead attorney, and Nicole Westmoreland said that there have been conversations.
She did. She did. I know mostly what I know from what the president has said.
But wait, how are you the lead attorney? And she's saying that the team has had conversations with the White House, with the administration.
I can just tell you what I have had conversations with nobody.
You haven't spoken to the president?
I have not. No, not. I have not spoken to the president. I have not spoken to anybody who speaks to the president about Sean Combs. I have not.
So she said, and I just want to quote Nicole Westmoreland, who's part of the team, said that it's her understanding that we have reached out and had conversations, that they have spoken to people who would be responsible for the pardon process. And at a time where I think there's a lot of attention, not just on the president and his actions, but on what will happen here with Sean Combs, you mean to tell me that you really have nothing to do with a possible pardon right now?
Nothing. I have nothing to do with a possible pardon. I mean, I have my hands full with sentencing and bail. I mean, really, I'm not involved at all. So,
okay.
Like I said, I know it's in.
You would be honest with me, right?
Of course I would. I'm on TV.
Okay.
I mean, it's. I know it's out there.
Right.
I know it's out there. I know that every once in a while the president will say something about it. I don't know how seriously the president's taking it. I don't know kind of where his mind is with it, but I know that I want to work really hard to get him a good sentence.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of the pardon? Is he asking you, the team, see what you can do by any means necessary? Like, what is his take on what he's willing to do or go through to be free?
I think he knows I'm not political. So he doesn't talk to me about it at all. I mean, we've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. That's what he said. Go tell him I deserve a pardon. And I say, all right, so let's talk about your sentencing.
So you steer him back to what you're facing right now.
Yes, very much so. I'm a one-trick pony. I really am. I'm a courtroom guy. That's what I do. That's my forum. That's all I know. I'm a registered independent. I'm not political. And so I don't do anything about that.
So going back to the serious nature still of felony convictions, how are you preparing him? Are you telling him, listen, it could be on the higher side, it could be consecutively versus concurrently?
So, I tell him what the guidelines are, and the guidelines are about 2 or 3 years. And I tell him, the judge could go above the guidelines. That's rare, but possible. The judge could go below the guidelines. That's less rare in the Southern District of New York, and possible. And, the emphasis now is the same as the emphasis on the trial, is just to put the best effort forward to show Judge Subramanian all the reasons why, leniency is appropriate, why the violence is in his past, why he's dealing with the violence. And at the end of the day, he wasn't convicted for anything having to do with violence. I mean, the jury affirmatively acquitted him of all of that. So we have to make all of those arguments the right way, the legal way, to the court.
Because this bail was denied, and that's what sort of we're dealing with now, it's less than 60 days before October 3rd is still the day. What do you think will happen on sentencing day?
I can't possibly, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think Judge Subramanian's been fair throughout. He'll be fair here. Our fate is in our own hands, I feel. I feel like if we do a good job explaining the situation to our judge, I think we'll get a fair and reasonable sentence. I hope Mr. Combs goes home soon.
Mhm.
I think he's paid a tremendous debt for what he's done. He's done things wrong. He was convicted of crimes, and he's done other things wrong. And we were forthcoming, as part of our trial presentation as to all of that. And I think in some ways he's a better person because of it.
What does he tell his children?
I actually don't know. I mean, I know he talks to them a lot. They're very present in his life.
I was going to say, day one, we saw 6 of his 7 children in the
Mhm.
courtroom.
Mhm.
You said that in your conversations with him, he talks about, wanting to establish that relationship, wanting to get back home.
Mhm.
How difficult, I guess, has that been for him, trying to father behind bars, from behind bars?
It's very difficult because 4 of the kids, with him in jail, 4 of the kids have no parents at all. I mean, their mother passed away, and
You're
Mr.
speaking
Combs
of
is in
Kim
jail.
Porter.
Correct.
Mhm.
And I think he feels very, very bad about that. And I think he feels like he really wants to get back so that those kids have a parent, present to be their father, because they don't have a mother at this point, which is, tragic in general, but doubly tragic because, Mr. Combs is in jail.
A number of friends and family, I understand, have submitted letters. Were those was that for the bail hearing? Was that for the sentencing?
So it's for the sentencing.
And what are we to make of someone who accused Combs of domestic violence 5 years ago in a podcast, who then wrote a letter saying he's a good person, and today I believe doubled down on an Instagram post saying, why can't people accept that you can forgive people and move on? For those who will look at a letter from someone who was supposed to be victim number 3 in this case and go, she must have been paid, or the attorney clearly wrote that letter. What do you say to that?
She wasn't paid and the attorney didn't write it. I mean, I know she has a lawyer. I don't know between her and her lawyer how that letter was made, but I have every reason to believe that those are her genuine sentiments. And if her lawyer helped her write it, that sometimes happens. I think she's exactly right. And I think she would know. And I don't think she's here to just do him favors. I think this is how she genuinely feels. And I thought that her letter was very balanced. I think she said, was their relationship perfect? It wasn't perfect. I mean, and she led with that. And she said, but he always tried to do better. She saw him as a father and a loving figure. And I think this is all about redemption. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and I believe in redemption. And I think this is a story of redemption. And I think that's what he wants. He's religious as well. He was raised Catholic and Baptist. He went to Catholic high school. He went to Catholic church every Sunday. He went to Baptist church as well because of his grandmother. And I think he is telling a story of redemption. I think the Sean Combs story is a story of redemption and how important redemption is. And redemption as a function of character, both for the person who's asking for the redemption and for the people who we are asking to redeem that person. And I don't think it's a great gesture of character to carry anger. I think that's what Gina's follow-up is saying. I think it's a great gesture of character if someone really deserves redemption to let them achieve that. And that's really the Combs story right now, is one of redemption.
I want to go back to that last day in court for you, giving your closing argument, 4.5 hours. I heard in another interview that you had something ready and then you weren't comfortable with it. And you went on a walk and you just came with what you said is, tell me a story.
Right.
Wanting to connect with the jury, which you believe, you had the shared experience with. Some criticized, what you had to say and how you said it. I remember doing an Instagram post myself where you talked about, the Astroglide is off the streets, and you said it in a way that was kind of mocking the fact that a lot went into raiding someone's home and this is what they found. When you look back at that, explain to us, to the viewers, why you felt it was so important to not necessarily have everything written down, not stay behind the podium, but to use your hands to move back and forth. Again, there were no cameras in the courtroom, so we are the eyes and ears for the public. But
Right.
what went into that? How you were feeling? I mean, to be up there for 4.5 hours.
I had prepared an outline, and the night before I read it over, and it was factually fine, but it was stale. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't a great story. And I just wanted to tell the jury the story. And so I knew what I wanted to say.
Right.
And I knew that the jury had paid very close attention. So they didn't need me to put emails up on the screen for them to see for the 23rd time. The text messages or whatever the written communications were, they knew that stuff. And they paid very close attention to the testimony. They all took notes. All 17 jurors took notes throughout the entire trial. So they knew this stuff. What they didn't hear, and I didn't think the government really gave them a story, they didn't hear the story of this case, and so I just wanted to tell them a story. And I wanted to put my notes down, I only had 3 pages of handwritten notes anyway, and talk to them and look them in the face and, kind of look at them individually and sort of say, this is the story of this case. This is what the evidence shows.
There's a moment I think lawyers know when they have the audience, the jury. When was that for you?
So it's funny. It's a good question. I wasn't sure if I was going to be sarcastic or not. I wanted to sort of see how it would go. So when I was cross-examining one of the agents, I asked him, I said, so how many cases, how many search warrants have you recovered Astroglide? And he says, 1. I go, this one. And he was did terrorism cases and all these serious cases. And so I realized, and the jury kind of laughed at that. And so I realized that's going to be my jumping off point because I already have that kind of in the record. So early in my summation, I did the whole thing with, thank goodness they got the Astroglide, they got it off the street. And the jury reacted, well. They laughed, they kind of got it. And there's aspects of this trial. I mean, sarcasm could be a very effective tool, and as a storyteller, you want to use your full complement of tools. And it's sincerity and it's sometimes sarcasm. But at a certain point, it's not so much that I realized that I had the jury. I realized I was with the jury, and that's kind of really where I want to be, and I want to sort of be whatever their space is. I want to be in their space with them. And I realized that I was doing that. I was in that space with them. They were paying very close attention. They were kind of with me on, the different arguments. I kind of knew when they were ready for me to move on, and that's one of the things, and this is really a trial lawyer thing more than something unique to Combs. Trial lawyers need to get rid of their notes. I mean, you're talking to a jury, so be with the jury. Be with the jury. Where are they done on this topic? Then move on. If you had another 3 pages, forget it. It's time to move on. And they throw off an energy. There's something about a jury of people all compressed in a jury box that they actually throw off a lot of information. And if you're attuned to it and you're not staring at your notes and you're looking at them and you're feeling them, you'll know exactly what to do next. And that's what the summation was.
So when you think about the very beginning and your first meeting with Sean Combs, what was it about this case that you said, I really want to represent you? Obviously, you had a lot of experience with racketeering conspiracy, but you didn't have to take this case on.
No, I thought he was being targeted. I genuinely did. I thought that he's an outspoken guy. He ruffles feathers. And I thought they were looking to get him unfairly. I really
They
believe
being
that. The government, the government. And I thought he didn't do these things. I mean, I knew, because he was honest with me throughout. I mean, I knew there was issues in the past, with domestic violence and with his girlfriends. But that's not what they were looking to charge him with.
He was honest with you throughout. So did you know before the video was released of Cassie Ventura being slapped and kicked and punched that happened?
Well, I knew from her lawsuit, certainly, because she filed the lawsuit.
But you also know then that his reaction in the beginning was, this is outrageous.
Before I got involved in the case, I think that I've seen that. Yes.
But when you were involved, that video didn't come out yet.
The video didn't come out.
But when it did,
right,
how did that change your relationship or any questions you had about someone you said had been forthcoming and someone that you trusted? Because
I had known that there was violence between him and Cassie.
okay.
I mean, listen, I don't know why his
But you
prior
didn't know
lawyers-
about the video prior to it coming out?
I didn't know that there was a video. I didn't know there was a video.
And when you saw that video, how did you feel personally?
It was a rough day. I remember thinking this is just a terrible piece of evidence. It takes all the guesswork out of this aspect of the case. And I remember thinking they're going to indict him. They're not going to start this investigation. Then this video falls into their lap and they're not going to indict him. He's definitely going to get indicted.
Because that played so big in this case, as you know, early on, even the idea of paying someone to make sure that this doesn't see the light of day, is that something that was revealed to you in any way, shape, or form? Maybe not seeing the video, obviously, or knowing the details of it outside of, okay, this is someone I'm representing who has admitted that there was some violence between him and his ex-girlfriend. But just that idea of paying someone $100,000 for video to bury it so no one sees it. Did you know that?
I did know that. I did know that. I mean, I knew that there was a video that
But
the
you just hadn't
Intercontinental
seen it.
had. I hadn't seen it.
Okay.
I didn't think it existed. I mean, I thought that, it was sort of taken care of. And that was a mutual thing between, Sean and Cassie. I mean, Cassie had a premiere coming out. Nobody wanted this video leaked, I don't think anyone was concerned about it being a police matter. I think everybody was concerned about it being released on, TMZ or somewhere else.
When you think about the 34 witnesses that were called, 8 weeks almost, not technically 8, because there were some days we had off, but 8 weeks of this trial, 34 witnesses, and you decide not to call any witnesses. What was it about that final week when we as reporters were trying to figure out, are they going to call so-and-so? Are they going to call another ex-girlfriend? But nonetheless, you did not bring anyone to the witness stand. Why not?
Because what you do as a defense lawyer is you have your sort of checklist of what are the things I want to establish as matters of fact at this trial.
Right.
And if you can do it all through the government's witnesses, you don't have to call your own witnesses. And that's really the issue. So all of the things we wanted to establish, we really pretty much did through the government witnesses. And
so that's why you felt there was no need to call any
There's no
witnesses.
need to call any defense witnesses.
Did Combs want to testify at any point in this trial?
Yes, he wanted to testify. And, and I told him the same metric, what are you going to say that the jury hasn't heard?
And what did he say to that?
He's like, well, do you think that they're waiting for me to testify? I said, I think they would love Sean Combs to get on the stand and testify.
But what did he say he would have said had he gotten a chance to do that?
I mean, I think it would have been a lot of the things that are in the cross. Cassie and I loved each other. She said that. Cassie and I were sometimes toxic, but we were really in love. She said that. All the different things that he would have said that were by way of sort of explanations or giving context, we got out from the government witnesses. And so what I told him is, you don't really have any road to cover that we haven't covered through the crosses. I mean, I was a great businessman. I was a successful businessman. We got that through the personal assistants. We got that through, you're the former CFO. You don't need to get up and say that. And I think he saw that we were right, that we really had brought all these things out in the government's case and that he didn't have to testify.
At what point in this 8 weeks did he feel comfortable agreeing with your suggestion that you should not take the stand?
I don't know that it was any one point in time.
Okay.
It was probably around halfway through the trial, maybe a little bit more than halfway through the trial.
So he was on board with this idea that, you know what, I don't need to testify.
So it's always, let's see how it goes.
Okay.
This is when it comes to, for your client testifying, you kick the can down the lane kind of by design. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. It's never over till it's over.
Right.
And we knew the government was going to put on these summary witnesses and they were going to put all these text messages and all these communications, and let's see how that goes. Let's see how that lands. Can we handle that on cross? Because if we can handle on cross, we'll just take care of it on cross and you don't have to do it. We thought we handled it all.
He was so active in his own defense. I'm watching Combs many times, taking notes, handing you all Post-its, while you're cross-examining witnesses. How helpful was that? Were there moments where he was very helpful in proving something or changing the narrative or direction that you guys were going in?
So he's a chairman and a CEO, among other things. And he would remember the things we would talk about. So he would sort of remember to ask this. And sometimes I'm really glad he wrote the Post-it. Sometimes he'll write a Post-it of something that, might be a good idea if it weren't a trial, but not maybe a great idea in the context of a trial. So it was mixed, but he was very active. And you guys are only seeing sort of the tip of the iceberg. I mean, he was a very involved, client in terms of being part of the defense team and, the strategies and sort of the ideas that we had for the best way to present his case. I mean, I thought it was important that the outstanding young women lawyers on our team played a very prominent role. So we had, Tenny do the opening, we had Anna, do the
And
cross.
that wasn't the original order of things. You said Anna wasn't always going to do the cross.
Right. So I had prepared the whole cross of Cassie. I mean, I prepared the whole thing. And I was here in my office till 2:00 in the morning one night. And I just felt there was something missing. There's some aspect of the trial that I'm not kind of getting to the heart of. And I walked to my apartment. I live in Lower Manhattan near Wall Street. It's like an hour-and-a-half walk. I get home at 3:30 in the morning. And I realize I should not cross Cassie. And I think Anna should cross Cassie. So the next day I call Anna. I go, how do you feel about crossing Cassie? And she's like, she's testifying in 3 weeks. I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. We will get you ready. And she worked really hard and she did a great job.
We as journalists were not able to see those sex videos. They were just for the jury. Did those videos, and I want to say it was probably a little over an hour worth of material.
That we showed the jury?
Yes.
Right.
Did that help your case more?
I thought it did. So one of the alternate jurors was interviewed and he referred to them as tame. And that's a fair way to put it. They were very, the hotel rooms were beautifully done. It wasn't aggressive. The word tame is not a bad description, and it was eminently, consensual. I mean, I didn't know what these videos were going to be like. They could have been very different in nature and problematic for us, but they weren't. They were just, adults, having very eminently, obviously consensual sex. So I thought they were good for us.
Have you spoken to Maureen Comey since she got let go?
I have not.
When you heard that news, were you surprised? I mean, I know when I
yes.
watched you all before the trial starts, it seems like everybody's very friendly.
We are.
You guys are smiling, you're laughing. And then
Yeah.
of course, once you go into, okay, you're the prosecution, I'm the defense.
I'm sad that what happened to her. I mean, she doesn't deserve that. She didn't do anything wrong. I don't think it has anything to do with this case. I don't think. But
what do you think it has to do with?
I've read it, related to Epstein, but I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sorry to see her go. I think she's a good prosecutor. I think she's a good lawyer. She'll land on her feet. She'll have a great career. But I think what's sad, the saddest part is, I thought for a while I might be a career prosecutor, and then I had a third kid and my wife's like, go make some money, so sometimes it happens. I think she wanted to be a career prosecutor and she should be given that opportunity.
Oftentimes I wonder, as an attorney, do you have any regrets in how you tried this case?
It's a good question. I am one to have regrets, just in general. Not really. What I told Tenny early on, I said, we have a good chance if we do everything perfectly, but we have to be perfect. Every cross-examination has to be perfect. We have to hit the right tone. We can't be sort of tone deaf. We can't be heavy-handed, with the female witnesses. And if we can do all those things, we have a shot. And I think we were fortunate enough that we did those things. And so I feel like when you're asked about something as intricate and as important to this, do you have any regrets or do you do anything differently? And you say no, maybe you're not really answering the question on a deep level. So I'm really trying to think about the question more. But no, we put a lot of thought into this. I don't know that I would have done anything differently.
You called the relationship between Combs and Ventura a great modern love story. Ventura says she was raped, physically abused, and became addicted to drugs because of Combs.
I think that's what makes it. The rape we vehemently deny. And I know I respect that she said that. I don't think the jury concluded that that happened. And there's a whole backstory as to why I think she would have made up that allegation, which we said to the jury. So I don't think that happened. And that's a very serious matter. So I'd lead with that one. In terms of the drugs and the other stuff, I think that's what makes it a modern love story. I mean, there's a strong tragic aspect to it. I think they really did love each other. I think she very much loved him, and I know he very much loved her. And what I told the jury, and they all nodded in agreement, I said, if you want some of the most beautiful writing you've ever seen, look at their text messages from when they're breaking up in 2019. I mean, they're just so heartfelt, and just you can't. The greatest fiction writer couldn't really write them with kind of the poignancy and the power, and the tragic nature. I mean, these are two people who hurt each other, loved each other, cheated on each other, and it's very apparent to both of them that they're just not going to be together much longer. And their writing is just so beautiful and sad around this. So I maintain that that's true.
Kind of starting from the beginning, take us inside the courtroom right before the verdict is read. And I can't imagine your heart must have been racing. I don't think many of us, based off of, we're stuck on racketeering conspiracy the night before. In my mind, they needed a little bit of time, not just about an hour. So what was going on?
So the most nervous time for me was when they had verdicts on 4 counts the day before.
Okay.
That was nerve-wracking because I hadn't really processed it. Like, what does it mean? They have 4 verdicts, but they don't have a verdict on the RICO conspiracy count. And then at 3 a.m, it kind of hit me. And I remember thinking, and I actually said to Tenny, I sent her a text, and I said, we're going to make a bail application. It's going to be a good verdict for us. We're going to go down. I think we're going to go down on the prostitution, but we're going to win the RICO and we're going to win the sex trafficking. So let's get our ducks in a row to make a bail application. We're going to need to know like that where the plane is, so that the government's like, he still has a plane. He doesn't have access to the plane. We need where are the kids' passports, where's his passport. So I actually thought it was going to be a good verdict, and I thought it was going to be quick. So when the verdict actually came in at 10 o'clock, I was probably much less nervous than I am in a typical case, because I remember thinking they acquitted of the RICO, they acquitted of the sex trafficking.
But it's not until you hear those words, right?
For sure.
And when you did hear not guilty on racketeering conspiracy, you did what?
I waited until sex trafficking count 2. That's when I knew it was going to be okay. They say not guilty on RICO. They could still convict him of sex trafficking, which is a 15-year mandatory minimum just for 1 count. So I waited, bated breath until that. And then they said not guilty on that. And I said, I bet they're going to say guilty now on prostitution. And they did. And then I'm like, well, could they have possibly convicted him of sex trafficking, for Jane? And they said, no, he's not guilty of that.
Right.
And so, no, but there's nothing like it. It's the most nerve-wracking, maybe with the exception of the birth of my 3 children, and do they have 10 fingers and toes? Are they breathing? It's almost at that level.
I heard when you were on the elevator, you got in there, you took a deep breath, and someone asked you, how do you feel? And you said, relieved. I said, I'm relieved that I'm not miserable. And that's the funny thing with these things. If you win, you're relieved, and if you lose, you're miserable. I carry my trial losses with me forever. I dream about them. I dream that the jury's still out.
for the losses.
Mm.
The wins are not as good as the losses are bad. The losses are terrible, and the wins are reliefs. So I don't know why I do this for a living, but I'm going to keep doing it apparently.
Kanye West showed up during this trial.
He did.
When you heard he was in the building, what were you thinking?
I had mixed feelings. On the one hand, I think he was there to support Combs. And so I want to encourage people to support Combs. He certainly has had a lot of people in his life, in the last several years who haven't supported him and, detracted from him and things like that. So I wanted him in the courtroom for that reason. But I also I thought the trial was going well. I thought Kenny and I were having the perfect trial that we wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to take any chances. And so I thought that seemed like it could be a little risky. What would the jury think? Why is he there? And so I had mixed feelings about it, but I'm happy that he came, and I'm happy that he supported Mr. Combs.
Even with this case not quite behind him yet, because there's a sentencing, but the weight of what it could have been,
Mm-hmm.
there's still a bunch of civil lawsuits
Mm-hmm.
Combs is facing,
Mm-hmm.
over 70.
Mm-hmm.
Life is not going to be the same. I mean, I know he talks about the idea of performing in Madison Square Garden, but he's facing dozens of civil lawsuits if he gets out.
I don't think a lot of them have a lot of merit. I mean, I think if they had merit, they would have found their way into the criminal case. I mean, the prosecutors, scoured the earth for evidence that I think they thought had merit. And so even more than me thinking that it doesn't have merit, I think if it didn't find its way into the criminal case, the prosecutors didn't think it had merit. And so I think they will all go by the wayside one by one. But
it could take years.
It could take years.
And that's a lot of money he's going to be spending.
It's a lot of money. He has the tremendous misfortune of having lawyers around him all the time now. So that's not easy for anybody. So yeah.
Costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money, and it's a drag. I mean, but ultimately, I think the criminal case really is kind of the one thing that everyone can kind of have faith in. I mean, it's anybody can bring a lawsuit, and the government, the government put a lot of work into this case, and it brought charges that it thought had merit, and the jury spoke and said what it said, after really paying very close attention to all of the evidence. We had a very careful judge. It was a very good trial. And so I don't think we're not too worried about the civil lawsuits.
If Sean Combs were sitting right here, what would he say?
He would say, that's a great question. He would say, I have more to give the world. I want to get out, and I want to show the world that I have more to give. I've done things when I was a younger man. I did them in a way a younger man did them. And he'll talk about, he built businesses. He built businesses maybe no one else could build. I mean, I don't know that anyone could have built the record company he built, and then, made it, a fashion label and sort of like this lifestyle. And I think he has a sense and he has a vision. I was talking to him the other day. My daughter, who's a paralegal with us, Sophia, ran into Mrs. Combs at the jail. And she comes back to me and she says she's the most glamorous, fashionable woman I've ever met. And she really is. She just has this wonderful sense of fashion. I think in part because her sense of fashion was probably derived from when, like, there was real, not that there's not now, but real glamour. Like, there was a different sense of glamour, in the 50s. And so, I remember some of one of my grandmother was very fashionable, and I think Sean carries that tradition. And I think he brings it, into an urban arena with urban sensibilities, but he has a great, strong sense of like fashion and, and glamour. And I think he's going to do great things. And I think he's going to do great things as a mature, older man. He's not a brash 25-year-old anymore. You know, he's 55 and he's been through tremendous challenges. You know, he's lost women he's loved. He's lost being with his 7 kids. And he's had time to really reflect. And he relies on his faith. He relies on being religious. And I think we're going to see a very different Sean Combs. And I think it's going to be wonderful.
Does Sean Combs have a message for Cassie and Jane?
If he did, I probably wouldn't be in a position to give it because the trial's not over. So I that's a very good question, but one that I can't answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Damn, that was a lot. That was a lot. I got a couple of things in here though that hold up. Hold up, not that, hold up. I took a couple of good things out of here, man. Especially the Trump thing. Especially the Trump thing when he said, I have not spoken to Trump at all. And she's like, but Nicole Westmoreland, hold up, let me get the quote right. She said that she did. That's why I was like, when Nicole said that, I'm like, ugh, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, But he came back to step on it to say, nah, you know what I mean? He has not. Do you believe him? Do you believe they have not spoken? When I was looking at his eyes, though, while he was saying that, I don't think he was being truthful. I think they have been in some communication. I think Nicole Westmoreland may have spoke fast, but I think she wasn't lying, though. I don't think she was lying. Another key point thing, she said, Diddy said that he was going to be back on the stage on Madison Square Garden, bro. I'm like, what? Diddy got big aspirations, bro. Diddy said he gonna be back in the building, bro, in Madison Square. Jerika Duncan looked like, where? Doing what? You sure? That was crazy too. Yeah, lawyers, lawyers, man. Lawyers know how to do it, man. You know that. They'll talk you out of it or into it. But yeah, I just wanted to make make the content speak, just make Mark speak out, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad I just went and got the premium too for these specific reasons as well. And so we could just get the information. I'll do another breakdown on this as well. I'll most definitely do a breakdown on this as well. But I'm open to seeing what y'all think, bro. What do y'all think about this, man? I want to know what y'all think about this situation. Straight, yeah. I'm gonna drop a link. Y'all can listen to me all day. It ain't about me. Keep telling y'all it's about God and Jesus. It ain't about me. You heard? I'm just a tool in the shed. But yeah, man, it's about that though. If you think about something about this case, about what Mark said, about this interview, about Nicole Westmoreland, about the verdict, about the trial, about any part of this case, prosecution, defense, lead up, closing arguments, defense not ever calling a witness, not even one. Now we listen to Mark put us in his mindset of where he was at with it. Him talk about how he felt the night leading up to the verdict. You know what I mean? And how he said, throughout the 3 o'clock in the morning, you know what I mean? He was kind of nervous as well, but then he felt like, you know what? He said he called Tini and he was like, or he messaged her and was like, you know what? Let's prepare the bill. Let's prepare the bill package. Let's figure out where the planes is at. Let's figure out where the passports is at, the kids' passports, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine all of this, man, because I was there in the court, man. You know what I'm saying? I went in the court and I heard the verdict. I ran, I was outside live. Feel me? And I was like, nah, I gotta go upstairs for the verdict, yo. And I ran upstairs. And soon as I got inside the courtroom, everybody was standing up. The court was so packed and everybody was by the door. Like, everybody's in the court sitting down. So the seats are full. But now they do not allow people to stand up in the courtroom, especially even in the overflow rooms. They don't like people standing up. So that's how come I'm surprised how MTA lady got so far for 4 weeks, man. I'm telling you, she was doing everything to get kicked out. She was doing it. Shout out to my girl MTA Candy, right? And when I got upstairs, like as soon as you walk through, because when you go to the overflow room, it's two doors. It's a double doors. You open the first doors, then there's a little space. Got a hanger, little thing like a rack where you put your coats and stuff like that. It's just a little space in there, and then right there through the next double doors is the court. But right there through the double doors, it was people all right there, bro. Stopped. I'm like, yo, excuse me. Bust through all of them, son. Right to the court. Excuse me. Right to the aisles, bro. I get in the aisles. They read the verdict. So now I'm kind of confused because remember, I didn't get to hear the very beginning of what they're saying, right? So I'm lost when I'm hearing everything. So I'm like, so they're like, so on verdict. So I'm thinking like they had to say, I don't know, because they said, oh, how do you read on the verdict on the count one, right? And she said, not guilty. So I'm like, oh, that's Rico, bro. I'm like, oh, that's Rico. So then they said not guilty again. But now I'm kind of lost of where I'm at with these counts. Like which count is 2, which count is 3, which count is 4, which count is 5. I just know one's Rico. Remember, they had reached a verdict on 4, but they left on 1. So be like, oh my God, they can't decide the Rico. Now I might go lights out from lights out. You might go lights out for Diddy. So I'm kind of confused now. So I'm like, they're like, not guilty. I'm like, oh. Then they said not guilty again. I'm like, oh. But then they said guilty. I said, oh, I'm in the middle of the aisle now, literally in the aisle, okay, on the floor. You hear me? I've made it to the floor, me on the floor, literally, okay, on the floor. Oh, they like, yo, not guilty. Then they said a guilty. I'm like, oh, but so I'm kind of lost. So after they read all the verdicts and they said guilty, all I know is he got not guilty on the Rico. So I'm like, that's big. That's the L off. So now remember, everybody and their mother's getting up and running towards the elevators. You already know. Like when it's break time and all that, I leave before he even does that because you got to go downstairs and get your phone. And now you in a line for 58 years. I'm not doing it, homie. Son, I reach up off the floor. I'm running, excuse me, bust through the people, son. No manners. Excuse me. To the elevator. Move. I'm pushing the button. No. Close the door, close the door, close the door, close the door. Yo, straight. That's how we was in it. Everybody that know we was in that courtroom, yeah, I know that's how we was on it, son. We run into that elevator. We pressing door closed, bro. Listen, do not stop this elevator. We is going downstairs, bro. Straight. So now we in the elevator, and you know what I mean? News people like the Jerika Duncans, whoever. We in the elevator, all going downstairs. Whoever made it to our elevator, remember everybody's waiting for the next ones. So now we talking. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, damn, though. So I know he didn't get the Rico, but I'm like, damn, what they commit. So I'm thinking that he got a trafficking and maybe he got, I think, because remember, the whole time I'm like, Jane, I don't know about Jane, bro. I'm telling you, remember my case? I'm like, Jane, I don't know. Jane's a grown woman. Let's stop, man. Cassie, you could probably make some of them cases. I'm like, I think he should have been acquitted of the trafficking of Jane and the tuition of Jane, bro. I'm telling you. But once you guilty of the one tuition, you're guilty of the second tuition. So I already knew this. This is how we was talking. I said, most likely you're gonna get clipped on the tuitions. And if you're guilty of one, you're gonna be guilty of the next. So my thing was they gonna find him guilty of the Jane's tuition? That was my thing, right? So I'm kind of lost. So what I think has happened now, I'm like, damn, they rocked them. So I'm seeing the shit running to the elevator. I'm in the elevator like, yo, they rocked them. Damn, son, they gave the nigga a trafficking and gave him a tuition of Cassie. So I'm thinking he got tuition of Cassie and trafficking right now, bro. They're like, nah. They're like, no, he got the 2 tuitions. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, yo, bro. Yo, I remember that for myself, bro. It was a lot, bro. I don't care what side of the verdict you think he was on, bro. Because I ain't on no side of that shit, bro. But at the end of the day, son, I just wanted to know what was going to happen, bro. Straight, son. You feel me? What I didn't want him to get was Rico. I know I didn't want him to get Rico. I wasn't even that sure of the traffic and that he was trafficking these people. You know what I'm saying? We understand that Cassie and Jane, you know what I mean? Whether sometimes it wasn't consensual at times, but when you go to Cassie and they asked Cassie, they said, what would prompt you to leave a freak off? She didn't say it was too much X. We was doing it for 72 hours and I was tired on the 70th hour. Is this or that? No. They said, what prompted you to leave? And the only thing that ever prompted her to leave was when Diddy's mind or his mood shifted and his eyes would become black and he wouldn't look like the man that she loved anymore. So she was enjoying that. She was there enjoying that. It's SEX. We all enjoy SEX. We enjoy sex, bro. It's fun. It's sex. See what I'm saying? So she was there enjoying that. And like she spoke in her Instagram post, she said domestic violence is the issue. She didn't say trafficking is the issue. She didn't say RICOs are the issue. She didn't say, yo, me freaking off for 88 hours is the issue. Me doing one a week, 52 weeks in a year. Longest one was 4 days straight. That's on New Year's. But a freak off is usually 3 days straight. And the woman can't get 1 second of sleep. And you're cycling and siphoning out the men coming and coming and coming. Even the men have to stop at some point because that's what your body should do. So shout out to these women, because how the hell were you able to complete these things? Okay. But she never said that the other things was the issue. She said domestic violence was the issue. And that was the issue. Because you're with a person, you want to do these things, even if you're doing this extracurricular type actual activities and all of that, if you're getting used to it or you're not. Okay. Maybe you love your partner, right? We know many people, not just, I'm a man, so I talk from a woman to me as a man. A woman may do things to please me, just to please me, right? But now I'm being violent. I'm doing all these other things. That shit takes away the fun away from this shit. The shit just makes it something else now. Now, what the fuck am I here doing this for? And you over here being violent, putting your hands on people. Like, get the hell out of here with this. I don't want to do this shit no more. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that. So Cassie knows what she was talking about. Cassie's not a fool, son. And Cassie herself did not want Diddy to go to jail. She didn't. Jane did not want Diddy to go to jail. They did not. They did not. Okay. They didn't. Straight. People want money. They wanted their bread. That's what they wanted. Cassie came up with her suit. She came up with what she wanted to get her money. Straight. That's what happened, bro. The government used her lawsuit. On the back of it, sprung up a case on it. And this is what they did. That's it. It's not like she called HSIs, called feds, called this, called that. Not to say that just because people don't call feds, call police, that don't mean that they weren't victims. You can't say that. Some people just don't do it. Sometimes people are scared. We don't know. We're not Cassie. You know what I mean? We're not Cassie. So it's a multiple reason of why she did it. But there's a multiple reason why no one did. No one called Jakes on this man. No one called the feds. No one called CSIs. No one called nothing. You know what I'm saying? But everybody called civil lawyers, though. So that's what it gets me. Everybody called the civil lawyer. I was talking on my live like the other day, one day, probably during the trial or something. And we was talking about that, about victims and how what I deem real victims to be, because, you know what I mean? We all going to have our own lens on this. I think a person wants money too, right? Because you want to be rewarded or compensated for things, right? Not rewarded, compensated. But I think that real victims really don't really care about the money element. I think they really want justice. If they get the bag too, then they'll take the bag too. But even if they had a choice for no money, they would want justice. To me, that's what I would think a real victim wants, right? So then somebody in my chat was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, what you talking about? If somebody hit you with a car, what you want? Sorry, or would you want your money, right? I'm like, yeah, I want my money. But God is so great that he put something in my head at that moment. So we can't think for ourselves. We got to ask God to guide our words, right? Because we're talking to God's people. So God says to me in my brain, it's all happening fast. He says, listen, imagine you got hit by the car though, right? But the car drove on, right? So the car hit you and kept driving. So yeah, now what do you want? Do you want your money? Of course. But what you want is justice. You want to know who the hell was in that car that hit you and they drove off like it wasn't no damn thing. All right. You're going to want justice and you'll take some money from the ass too. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So is Cassie and Jane victims in some ways? Yeah. To the degree that the government was trying to make them, I don't believe that. I don't believe that Cassie or Jane speaks for real victims. I'm sorry. I don't think that they do. I don't think that they do. I think real victims just want justice. And they don't care about what you have. Straight. They just want justice. So sometimes it can be conflated and it can be confused. Okay. So that's why I was saying, like some people saying, like, oh, she should be the advocate of Cassie or something. I'm like, no, I don't think Cassie should do that. Sorry. Nah. Because Cassie know what the hell Cassie do. And Cassie not innocent, bro. She not innocent. That's Diddy's girl. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whoever the hell you have, you understand that people match your energy in some ways. That's why you make people your girl or your boyfriend, bro. Even if they weren't like that at a time, they step their game up, their level up or something, and they're matching energy. Something's going on, bro. All right? Something's going on. That's why you're with people. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Cassie was this feeble type of girl when she came into the relationship, but through time she's changed. If you've seen a woman that sometimes be in a domestic violence, sometimes people are scared. But sometimes some women or some people, right, after being in abusive relationships, right, you'll see the woman or that person, like what? She'll pop it off on the person, even though she knows she's probably going to get hit, but she's probably so used to being hit that she doesn't care no more. You ever seen one of those type of people? Which this woman is in an abusive relationship. But now it's to the point that she's also abusive too, because this is how you protect yourself from a predator, from abusers, by sometimes becoming an abuser, becoming a predator. Sometimes you hide under the cloak of being a predator so that you don't be a victim. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they say sometimes potentially victims become abusers, right? Sometimes victims become predators and victims become abusers, right? Sometimes even as defense mechanisms, they become it not even just personally, right? Or intentionally, right? Those things are possible too. Um, hmm. Yeah, man. I think Mark is a great lawyer, though, man. I got a chance to see Mark cook. Mark's a great lawyer. I think Diddy's whole team was great. Most definitely showed me nothing but love. Marc Agnifilo showed me nothing but love every day. Him, Brian Steele, all of them showed me love. Always dealt with me like a brother. Always came, hollered at me, spoke to me off camera, told me things. Always made me feel welcome. You know what I'm saying? Straight. I've seen them after trials, after court. I seen Brian Steele. I was chilling, chopping it with Brian Steele and Donaldson. It was just me out there, son. I was out there still just chilling at the trial one day. And I was just chilling. I was just downstairs, down at the trial, just smoking. But I left the court. I was like down by like Center Street, just smoking, chilling on the bench, just smoking. And I seen Brian and Xavier Donaldson. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, what up? I'm like, yo, look, man. I'm like, yo, you know I gotta take a video of this, man. What the hell? What y'all doing? He's like, nah. He's like, I was like, I gotta push the button, Brian. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I gotta push the button. Because I just don't run down on people, just film people like a fandom. I don't do that, bro. I treat people like regular people. That's why people treat me the same way. See what I'm saying? You watch me do this every day. You watch me treat everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, fat, small, skinny, tall, kid, young, old, don't matter. Prosecution, defense, don't matter. You see me treat everybody with the same lens, man. Content creators, people that's regular, what? Being out there, I help create some content creators. Like, yeah, man, go do your thing. They're doing their things too. So it's nothing but love. But I don't know, man. My thing is, what is Diddy gonna get? I know that they've held on to Diddy without the bails and all these things. So that alone made me feel like if he was going to get something on the lesser spectrum of the numbers, then why hold on so tight to him? That's what I've been feeling since the beginning, since the bail was denied, right? But now, what I've also taken is Judge Iran Submarinian now, in his response back to the motion, which the defense filed a couple of days ago, prosecutors responded to the defense's motion, and Judge Iran has ruled on the motion. And he has denied the bail. But it's not just about him denying the bail. It's about the language in the actual response. Him speaking to them owning the domestic violence and just based on the graphic nature of the violences that has been explained, alleged against Mr. Combs, just based on those things alone, which the defense has owned in the very opening statements, they took it to say if it was just a domestic case, they'd have damn near plead guilty. Based on these things alone, okay, the bail is thrown. Based on that alone, just based on the violence, okay? So when you hear the judge talk like this, you understand what the hell he's about to be probably thinking about now, okay? Because then he brought back that up. And then he also leaned back into the prosecution's, what the prosecution was saying about, because, the prosecution's whole thing in their response to the motion is that, okay, it looked technical, right? It's black and white. Okay, yeah, you got these cases, Chavez, Trowbridge case, whatever case that you're trying to cite. They're trying to compare it to Mr. Combs to get him let out of the jail. Cool. But nowhere through none of this, it's not saying how you changing what you're going to be doing to change or something like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So How are we to know that he's not this detriment to the community still? This is what the prosecution was kicking. You see me? Which the prosecution was right in a way. Because these were some of the things I think that the defense's motion was just like a skeletal thing or like a body, but there was no like no internal organ, like the feeling. And it missed the feeling, it missed some texture. It was just like black and white. You know what I mean? Okay, we have the Chavez case. Okay, we have this Tills and Trowbridge case. Yes, it's similar to Diddy's case in some ways, but Diddy's case is the only case that's like Diddy's case. So this is just this one case. And that's why I'm saying that the judge has a lot on his shoulders here. Since this case is the only case like itself, right? He has to set a standard and a precedent for how this case or these or cases like this is going to be tried from now on. He has this. It's him. This is his make it or break it, make it moment. This is him. If he does the wrong thing, you know what I mean? Come on, bro. He's going to get frowned upon. He got colleagues. He got people that, you know what I'm saying? Come on. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he works for who? Who does the judge work for? Does the judge work for the defense? Or the last time I checked, who pays his bills? The city, the government, the people? The people, bro. The people. So it goes to show you. And regardless if we think that the prosecution lost this case, because they didn't lose it all, but they did lose their case, though, what they were trying to push. But they're still winners, though. The prosecution are still winners because they still got 2 convictions on the 2 lessers. You know what I mean? Even if we think the 2 lessers are less, which they're not, it's all federal charges. Ain't nothing less in federal court, bro. This ain't no state, none. This is federal court. Each of those counts carry 0 to 10. Each of them. You know what I mean? They can walk in and get a 20-piece, bro. 20-piece nuggets, bro. No sweet and sour sauce, no barbecue sauce. Just give you a 20-piece nuggets, bro. No napkins, homie. Hold that and buy. It's not a happy meal for you, bro. They can do that if he wants to. The best thing working for Diddy is Diddy's record. Not these lawyers, not Mark. Not Mark is a brilliant lawyer, but not Mark, man. The best thing working for Diddy right now is his record. Straight, bro. Because everything else is working against him, bro. Everything else is working against him, bro. Straight, son. Everything else is working against him, bro. The violences, he being abusive, the dan, all of the things. And then you know what's also scary for Diddy? This is what's scary for Diddy, for real, is that even though you've been acquitted of things, right? But still, all of the things that you've been acquitted of in your case, right? When you come back to sentencing now, this is what I want y'all to look out for, okay? I want y'all to look for this thing when sentencing comes around. When we're back in this time, think about this. Look, the things that you've been acquitted of, right? Like the RICO charges, like the arson, the things like the coercion, the extortion, all of this, right? You've been acquitted of all these things, right? But these things are relevant content, conduct and content, right? Where they can use these things to reach back for them, to use that to push for further, to push towards the maximums of the sentence guidelines, period. Let's just say that. Okay, so they're gonna bring up the violence. They're gonna still bring back that tape. That tape is gonna be brought back again, bro. I've never seen that tape so much in my life, son. I've seen the tape so much. Okay, one person at the trial, she said, "You know, that wasn't Cassie. I'm not gonna say your name, but you know, you told me this." She said, "That was not Cassie. That was me." I said, "What? That wasn't you." She said, "That was not Cassie. That was me." I said, "So you was in an FO?" She said, "No, I wasn't FO." I said, "So how the hell you was in if you wasn't in an FO? Whoever was in that hole was in a whole FO. So you're not lying to me about this, lady, right?" She said, "No, that was me. That was not Cassie." But then the woman says to me, "That also wasn't Diddy. That was Diddy's double." I said, "Diddy's double? Shut up. Ain't no Diddy double, nigga. I saw a Diddy, nigga. The hell, nigga. I was Diddy, nigga." She said, "That's Diddy dunce, Diddy stunt double." I said, "No, you did not go there. Now that's Diddy's double." I done heard it all, bruh. I done heard it all, son. Trust me. Being at that trial, you done heard so much. And I think regardless of what, I just think that at this trial, I think it was everybody there was just a blessed energy in the unity. I just think from big media companies to small people to us to everybody, it was a dope ass energy. There's nothing could be like that ever again in history. I just love that. And I'll never take that. That's why I was there for that. This is just amazing, bro. But at the same time, it was the devil, son. The devil was prevalent there, son. It's so present there, son. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just like to keep God energy around. I always told you I drop sevens, and I just try to bring a good energy and just bring joy to everybody that came into my presence and came around me. And lift the mood up because it was about PTSD. It's about trauma. It's about violence, man. It's about a bunch of stuff. It's about domestic violences, shit that we've been traumatized from. Nigga, I've been traumatized from that shit from a kid. Nigga, seeing that shit from my household, son. Thought I was better than that shit, son. Damn near hated my pops or some shit for the shit, son. End up doing the shit myself, son. What the fuck, son? You become what the fuck you are sometimes, or what you don't think you are. You see what I'm saying? And even if you did it once, bro, to be violent is to be violent, bro. If he was domestically violent once, son, it's enough, bro. Straight, son. Us as men, we got to be leaders, especially us as chocolate face men. You already know the vibes, bro. We got to be leaders, bro. We don't need to be in no cans for no corny shit like that. That shit is not it, bro. Because that is what really got Diddy ass jammed up. Really, really over here. You know that, right? I'm telling you, son. I'm telling you. Because this case that they told us the whole time, the prosecution, the whole time they told us was about violence, bro. It wasn't about mad FO, mad this, mad that. You know what I'm saying? We heard that though. But what they kept leading towards is the violences, bro. So imagine Diddy never put his hands on Cassie like that. Or it feels like a one instance or two instances, right? Now this looks different on your lens now. Okay. Was they just doing it consensually? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? So what, allegedly, what, we going in the Will and Jada bedroom? What happened? You know what I'm saying? We got August Alsina over there with the, you know what I mean? So is we going to everybody's bedrooms now? The violence is what was making that case. This is why I'm saying, if the prosecution, that's why I said in my interview with Daily Motion and all that, my other interview that went viral, right, on Telemundo and all that shit, I said, listen to me, man, if you want to blame someone, you blame the government if you think that there's a victim in this case that has not received justice. If you think there's a potential victim in this case that hasn't received justice, you cannot blame nobody but the prosecution, because the prosecution swung for the fences with this RICO case, right? Maybe if they tried a case that was a state case, maybe if they tried it on a domestic violence tip, maybe statute of limitations runs out on a lot of things, right? But you still got going back at least 10 years, 7 to 10 years. Come on, that's still probably leading into Cassie. You might have all Cassie because it's statute of limitation, but you're gonna have some Cassie and some Jane, bro. And that alone would have been enough, son, to get him, son. Diddy would have had to plead guilty. There would have never been a trial. I would have never met none of y'all, a lot of y'all. I'd have never gained the 15,000 subscribers or whatever the fuck I got down there. None of this would have happened, bro. None of it would have happened. Diddy would have just had to say, hold your hands up, bro. Because there's no way you're going to go to court, son, as a man, bro. Okay? As a chocolate-faced man, too, bro. And you is in there for some domestic violence and all of the abuses that you've been doing to people, women at that, especially in this Me Too era. It's no way you don't go in that court and throw yourself upon the mercy of the court. It's no way that you don't go in that court and take accountability when you're talking. If you go in that court, you do not take accountability, son, they are going to rock you, son. They're going to rock you, son. It's a male judge, it's a woman judge, they're going to rock you, bro. The woman judge probably, son, just off the strength, she's a woman judge, going to rock you. Okay? Probably got kids and daughters too. Male judge got daughter, mom, all types of stuff. Rock you. We don't know what Judge Aron's trauma is. He's a human being like every one of us. We all be having our own PTSD and our own damn traumas in our own head, you know? So who's to say that we don't know? Remember, he's from his family, probably from India, wherever they're from. Bro, who knows what's going on with his family? Who knows what he's going on in his family? I'm saying, who knows? Who's to know what level of domestic violence or violences this man, Judge Aron Submarinian, the judge, has witnessed? Let's say he's witnessed violence like that, bro. Domestic violence, bro, from his household, son. Maybe from a family member, maybe from someone close. Maybe his wife has been through these things. Maybe his wife or somebody has been hurt or something like that. People try to traffic them. And now he has a case on his hands right now where he can set a standard right now. And he can maybe right or wrong. Sometimes people try to right wrongs. You'll use another situation to right or wrong. Okay, somebody bust you in your head before, so you mad, so you go punch somebody else in their head on another months later down the line because you trying to get it off because you couldn't get your lick back with that person. So now you're getting your lick off over here with some innocent person over here. Now you busting somebody in the head. Why? Because you was busting your head. See what I'm saying? So who's to know what trauma this man has been through? You know what I'm saying? Who's to know what trauma? Make music? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got you, son. I'm back to the music. I'm back to it. Yeah, album's on the way, man. I got a lot of dope people on it. You know what I'm saying? Straight. Got a lot of dope people on the album. Got a lot of dope artists. You know what I mean? Like I said, Mano, Tory Lanez is on my album. Got a few people. I ain't got to name the people, but shout out to everybody that just jumped on my album. You know what I mean? Believe in my music, believe in me as an artist, and God is great. I've been able to work with a lot of people. I was able to write music for people. You know what I mean? I write. That's really my gift, not this stuff. You know what I mean? I really write music. I play instruments. I love music. You know what I mean? It's my favorite thing besides sex. I act on scripts and stuff like that. You know, acting on a few things too. But I also like to write scripts as well. So it's a lot going on. We also shooting a film right now. We're working on a film that we're shooting as well. Yep, Don't Hide the Plug in 50/50 in conjunction. Shout out to Chips, shout out to Billy, Bed-Stuy 50/50. Yeah. So it's a dope movie. It's like CeeLo, it's about the dice game. And the story is being told in a way that's never been told before. So if you've ever been around CeeLo, the dice, the craps and all of that, then you know what's going on. Yeah. So that's what we do, you know. That's what we would do too, you know. We would do a few things. But God got me doing what I'm doing, you know. So that's what he wanted me to do. He told me to create this channel 8 months ago. And that's what I did. And he said he's gonna lift it. And that's what he did. So he ain't lied to me, I ain't lied to him, and I ain't lied to you. So I haven't lied to you yet. And I don't plan on it. So okay. The Judge 50 minutes of fame is almost up. That's what I'm saying. But it ain't up until he rock out. You know what I'm saying, Mark? It ain't up until he rock out right now, bro. So I'm trying to show you. You know what I mean? Because trust me, bro, if he let Diddy walk, his people is going to cook him. Bro, the people is going to cook him, son. Come on, bro. What? You gave him 2-3 years? Oh, you corny. Oh, you pussy, Judge. You pussy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I let nigga do that to me, I'm pussy. Yeah, you pussy, bro. You just straight. Come on, bro. Come on. That's what people will make you feel. They will make you feel, bro. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know that the judge has a lot on his hands, but I do know he is thinking of this in a way that I'm telling you, bro. When I heard his response to their motion and he brought back up the domestic violences, the physical violences, and based on that alone, he said that you not getting a bail based on that alone, bro. Move, and then went into citing some other reasons of why he don't feel he should get a bail, bro. It shows me how this man thinks. You know what I mean? And that violence, he's not jacking it. He's not jacking that violence, bro. He's not respecting that, bro. Straight. So what do we think he's gonna do? 10? I don't think so, bro. 10 is a lot, bro. To rock Diddy, I don't think Diddy will get 20. 20 will be an overkill if they gave Diddy a 20-year sentence right now. Straight, based on those tuition charges. It'd be crazy. So let's take away the 20. Let's take away 20. Okay, let's take away 20. To me, I think the maximum of him getting rocked is 10 years. I think if you're going to get maxed out, because I don't think you could get 20 right now. They give you 10 and 10, run them concurrently, run them consecutively, and all that. Yeah, they can do all of that to him. But I just don't think it's going to go down like that. So I think the maximum number that Diddy can get possibility from the judge is 10 years. Okay, so I think it's between his 10 years and whatever the defense wants, which is 20 something months, which is like 2 years and change or 2 years, right? So between 10 and 2, right? So it's not going to be 2. So let's just go upwards of 2. Let's go on an upward variance of that, okay? Because that's what they also do when they're dealing with sentence guidelines. They try to push for upward variances to try to get you maximized in the sentencing guideline, right? So boom. So let's say you're not going to get 2 because they're not dealing with you with that because you already been there for a year and change. Why would we give you 2? And if we're going to give you 2, why not give you bail? Because that means in 2 years, your ass going to be free anyway. So why do I feel that you're this much of a detriment to the community that I'm holding you with no bail just to release you when you get sentenced or give you some light ass charge that's going to let you get out anyway? Think about that. You know what I'm saying? Think about this. They really think that Diddy is a damn threat. That's how they deeming him, bro. It's how they deeming him. Maybe with those women, but they don't know. You know what I'm saying? What about other people? We did hear Gina pop out the blue to try to back Diddy and say, listen, I don't think he'd be violent. I think that he's learned his lesson. I don't think that he would do this and he'll do that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, bruh. Let me see what I got in here. Come on, man. Who would have got mad joints, man? Come on, look.
Flatbush.
1868 flows.
East 21st Street shooter block.
Tell me what you know about a nigga like me. She said a nigga pull a trigger and I had to tell her listen on my niggas like me. She said niggas try to hit it, but she really only fuck niggas like me. I told her do the right thing. Fuck with a nigga like me. Like me.
What you know about a nigga like me? Yeah, man. I don't know. So look, this is what I'm saying though. So between 10 and 2, we're gonna do the upward of the 2 because you're not getting what you want. The defense has lost. Don't get it twisted. Even though they won on RICO and trafficking, they lost. Prosecution won. You don't reward losers. You reward winners. Even if you think the prosecution has lost, they still won, and they will be rewarded. Okay. So just think basic. Don't think about what you think. Even if you think you want Diddy be free, think logical. Let's think logistically. Okay. Cool. We're not doing nothing that you want us to do. So they're not doing that. So if you want 2, your ass getting 3 at least. So just think about that, sir. You did that, gonna give you what you want. Okay, cool. So I think the judge could just do a nice round number and just go right in the middle. Say like 5. Straight. I know it's 2 tuition charges. I know, you know what I mean? I know some of us all know a person that's 2 in their bodies right now, and we don't think that they deserve 5 or 10 years, but they also didn't have a lot of that violence attached to their things. You know what I'm saying? It's the violence, bro. It's the violence, bro. It's not the actual thing no more. It's the violence. It's Diddy's own behaviors, his own regular ways, not his extra lifestyle, extracurricular lifestyle with the actual things. It's just his own temperament, mental health for him just flipping out. That right there, bro. That right there. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes people feel like, damn. So that's why even when Cassie's lawyer, Douglas Wickford, whatever, sent in the letter to show like, nah, bro, he don't need bail, bro. I don't even know what that was in that letter, but in that letter was a response, a correspondence between Cassie, I think, and Cassie and Diddy. So what was Diddy saying? Was he threatening her? What kind of threats was he making? Okay, whatever the threats he was making, they were believed by the judge because the judge denied them a bail. We understand that this man that's sitting on our screen, Marc Agnifilo, said that he has applied for bail 5 times in this case. Of course, be it with multiple judges, 2 with this one, and he has been denied all times. And I think he said this one. I think in this case, I think this is the most he's ever even applied for bails. I think it's 5 times in which he was denied. I think, or maybe it's the most time he's been denied. I think. Yeah, but he's been denied all 5 times. Yeah, so so what we got to look at is this now, right? They're identical charges, right? They're identical counts. So the judge is not going to do no weirdo stuff and do no weird stuff. We're going to do a year and a year. You in federal court. You think a federal judge is going to give you a year and a year on both counts? That sounds weird to me, son. That sounds weird, bro. I'm sorry, bro. It sounds weird. It does. It sounds weird. I think the least he could get from the judge off each count is 2 and 2. That makes sense to you. I mean, I'll give you 2 years on that one. I'll give you 2 years on that one. We'll run them concurrently so that'll be equal out to 3 years and change. You're at a year and change in. You'll do about a year and change more, 2 years, and you'll be home. So we still think you need some rehabilitation, sir. We still think you need to sit down for a little minute, get your ducks in a row, get your mind right, do what you need to do. You feel me? Straight. Straight. 2 and 2 consecutively. That means you do damn near all of 2 years, and then you're gonna do. Then after you complete your 2 years, you go into completing your second 2 years. So that's when they charge you consecutively. I mean, they really want you to do your days in there, just like how CashApp mom, when she was just sentenced, they gave her 30, right? But they gave her 20, and then they gave her the 10 to be ran consecutively. So they didn't put them concurrent, so they'll be all collapsed into one thing, and this may lead you to do it considerably just a little bit less time. Okay, so if you want a person to make sure a person is doing that time, you're gonna run the counts consecutively. That means you have to do one, complete it, and then you go into your second term, and you'll be completing that. Right. Another case in that, Cuffy Gatlin, free Cuffy. Cuffy got 27 years, but he's already completed one of the first parts of his bid, which is some of the D-rug charges and whatever. Remember, the other things that he got locked up for was conspiracy to commit unalivings and stuff like that, even though he didn't. His associates unalived 2 people, right? Okay, so the first bid, which was for just the drug conspiracy, right? He's been there for he's been in jail for like 11 years now, something like that, 12 years or so, right? 11 years, because I think his grandson is about that age, because his daughter said that. She knows how long her father's in jail, because right before he was born, I think, her son, her dad, Cuffy Gatlin, was arrested in this same case. Cuffy Gatlin is the guy that they say, that he says Big Meat snitched on him. So this is the guy I'm talking about, Cuffy Gatlin. You know what I mean? Shout out to Cuffy, you know what I mean? Shout out to his daughter too. You know what I'm saying? We're able to have little conversations with his daughter, and a little back and forth with him. But I don't really get into too much. But it just goes to show you have to complete one part of the bid, and then you'll complete the next part. Puff must have information that they want. That's why they haven't unalived them. A lot of times they unalive the artists. The entertainment industry is ran by the MO busy, especially the industry. It's crazy. Mike Jack. Yeah, Mike Jack. Peter was a great song. Yeah, man. Mike Jack. Yeah, you know that. You go down the list, man. The list goes down the line, bro. Mommy, especially my homie with the ass out jeans. You know what I mean? We ain't got to say his name, but you know the homeboy. They were like purple. The homie that like purple, nigga. Straight. You know what I mean? So we know what is going on. You know what I mean? But so now when we look back at that raid of Diddy's house, think about it now. Remember, they did this whole raid. What the hell? They got baby oils or some dumb shit. Look at the case that we was presented now. Come on, bro. What was the raid really about? They locked up them people, had kids in cuffs. Yo, bro, they act like the kids was freaking off. They had the kids in cuffs and all types of shit, bro. For what? For Cassie and Jane? Nah, bro. That raid was about something else, bro. They ran down in that crib, son, to go probably get some shit, bro. To go hold it, bro. Think about that, bro. What was the raid about, bro? Baby oils, Astroglide, slip and slide. We heard the case. There was no wild criminal activity. No, it wasn't. It was domestic violence. It was violence. It was abuse. And that was the damn fucking activity. The hell? Okay, we got some arson, allegedly. But Kid Cudi don't even got cameras in his goddamn house. Who the hell is in the Hollywood Hills and ain't got no goddamn cameras in your goddamn house, bro? What's wrong with you, bro? So even though he alleging that Diddy was in his crib, or whatever the hell happened, and he came into court trying to prove a point, like he wanted to fight Diddy to us. Stop. You was cheeks, Kid Cudi. Your name is Kid Buddy, because you're a butt. What the hell are you talking about? This nigga's butt. Nigga's cheeks. Stop. You act like you want to smoke with Diddy. You want to go fight the man. You pull up to the spot. Capricorn Clark say, there you go. Diddy say, get that nigga. Yo, bro, this nigga do a triple somersault. Nigga, Dukes of Hazzard, orange car, tires screeching, spins out. Diddy's chasing him down. He's running from Diddy. Diddy is in a damn Cadillac Escalade, allegedly, and he's in a 911 Porsche. And Kid Cudi, if you don't go sit your ass down somewhere, son, have 88 seats. Because you snitched for nothing. Straight. Because Diddy didn't even get of your charges, nigga. You snitched for nothing, Kid Cudi. A.K.A. Kid Buddy, because the nigga's butt. Stop, bro. You snitched for nothing, bro. Straight. Because Diddy never got nothing with that, bro, right? So what you went in there snitching for? Think about that. You're an artist. You're a fucking artist. What are you in there for, bro? What are you in there for, bro? You want justice? Stop, bro. You done shot your whole career, probably. Straight. But this is what's going on, bro. This is what the hell is going on. But yeah, though, like I said, maybe 2 and 2. It sounds like a good number. 2 and 2, right? Run them concurrent. right? He's already been in there for a year and change. Yeah, because 10 months is a year in jail because you're going to do 85% of your time, right? 10 months is a year. So Diddy's in there for like, it's 12 months now. So you can say that's a year and a couple of months, right? Even if you're in there for a year. So now, with the 2 and the 2, remember, you got to give you identical. What are they going to give you? 1.5, 1.5? I just don't see you getting 1.5 years in no damn federal court, bro. Telling you, son, when you graduate to federal court, you've left the state. State is like regular school. You're in college now, bro. You're gonna get 5 years. You got to do 4 or 5 years of school, bro, before you graduate, brother. And that's what it is. They're only giving you 5 years. They're giving you times like that. You know what I mean? Unless you snitching and you telling and shit like that. Look, Diddy ain't telling nobody, son. Diddy kept it tall, son. Even though you could say, Diddy, it wasn't nobody for him to tell on. He was the only one in the case. Bro, you can make something happen, bro. You could tell them something about something. You could probably build a whole nother case for the feds. What are you talking about? This is Diddy we're talking about here. You know this, right? Yo, listen to me, man. I'll give up this, and this, and that. I'll tell you about some real people since you on me. How about this? They'd be like, what? Okay, cool. Tell us more. All right, cool. We about to open up a whole case and a can of worms on their ass over here, too. What are you talking about? Diddy knows mad stuff. You don't know a nigga in the hood that he was locked for some car shit or some shit. He done snitched on people. Bruh, Diddy was facing life, 15s, 30s, all of that, and didn't snitch though, bro. Didn't snitch on anybody, bro. Keep it real, son. You know somebody that snitched for nothing right now, son. Straight. And Diddy was facing all of that shit and didn't snitch. So I'll give him some credit on that. He most definitely stood tall and took his own lick. Took his own lick. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think maybe it's 2 and 2. 2 and 2. He's already in for a year. It's ran concurrent. He got about maybe a year left. So maybe about next year, you'll be home. Your kids, you know what I mean? You kind of factor in that. You know what I mean? He got kids too, even though nobody cares. But you got kids. His kids ain't got a mother. They ain't got a father right now. It's a lot going on, son. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, son. You know what I mean? Even if you don't like Diddy, son. You know what I mean? I think of his daughters. I think of his kids too. You know what I mean? His sons too. I think of all of them. But especially the daughters, bro. Especially the daughters. Whether you want to say the sons is running around because they ducked out with their dad, whatever. Whatever. But the daughters, though, bro. Think about those daughters. You know what I'm saying? Come on. You know what I mean? And just when I see them, y'all you know what I mean? I think of Diddy, but when I see them, I just think of Kim, bro. Straight, son. I could never hate on them girls, bro. Never in my life, son. Never in my life, son. And I won't watch nobody hate on them in front of me, bro. Straight. Don't. I won't. I won't, bro. The kids and all them, I've even tried to talk to people and not hate on them too. They kids to me. Even though they're not kids, they're older. Quincy and them like 30 and whatever the case may be. I get it. But they young to me, bro. They lived a different life, a sheltered life than I've ever. You know what I mean, son? Come on, bro. Niggas like me is from a zoo, son. Trust me, son. A zoo, son. Lions, tigers, and bears, bro. Trust me, son. You know what I mean? So for me, they like young to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I know some things that have been alleged against some of the sons or whatever, one of the sons or Justin or King or whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, I wait till those things come into fruition. I'm not the one to push those things. You know what I mean? If that's whatever, and if it's something that they've done wrong and they'll have their day in court, then they'll have their day in court and we'll be talking about it that day if that day comes. But I'm not one to be pushing it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think about the girls, you know what I'm saying? Chance and the twins. Delilah and Jess. You know what I'm saying? Straight. And I think about how strong they are. You know what I mean? As young girls, young women, right? They came into court and they listened to Phillips, bro. Daniel Phillips was talking, bro. They left. They left. And then they came back and they left again. I was in the court. Right? That's when people trying to make, oh, they stormed off and all this other stupid stuff like people lying about. Nah. So, you know, I was just there like, damn, bro. Like, to hear this shit, bro. You got to be strong, son. You got to be a strong person, bro. Them girls are strong, son. Them girls are strong, son. You got to give credit where credit's doing that, bro. Them girls are strong, son. To listen to that is rough, son. Rough, son. They talking about the actuals. They talking about him not wiping up the sperm, son. Come on, son. That's crazy, son. Your kids hearing that you ain't wipe up the sperm, bro. That's crazy, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying to you now, man? Shit weird as hell, son. Weird. You in there like, daddy, what? the fuck is going on? This nigga's weird, right? Weird, son. Regardless of nothing, it's weird at best. It's weird. At the least, it's weird. Then listen what the girls do. They left, right? So I was wondering, like, damn, when they gonna come back and stuff? You know what I'm saying? Remember, Philip was up there for like a day or whatever. That lot. So Philip was up there doing his thing. Cassie comes next. Boom. Remember, that's how the witnesses was called. Flores, Detective Flores, Officer Flores, whatever. Flores called first, then Daniel Phillips, and then Cassie was the third witness. So 1, 2, 3. The prosecution lost their case after the 1, 2, 3. That's when they began to lose their case. Because when it 1, 2, 3, remember, the officer came first. Then came Phillips. Remember, the officer said that there was another man in the room. Brian Steele cross-examined him and had us believe that the guy was lying. I swear to God, that's what a good lawyer can do. The man testified that he seen a dude in the room, son. So he's like, Brian was like, so why you ain't write the dude down then? So you didn't take the man's name. You didn't take a picture of this man. You came to a whole scenario, hotel fight, all that. You got another person in the room and you don't question the person, ask the person nothing, but you want us to believe this. So I'm like, word though. If you're doing an investigation as an officer on the scene, why won't you know who that person is? Take the person's name, sir. Right? So I'm like, I don't know. Ortiz or whatever his name is, Ortiz, whatever. I was like, I don't know, bro. I don't know about that one. He might have been lying about that. You know what I mean? So why he ain't put that in there? Why he had a whole report? So Brian's still like, bro, why you remember everything clear as day 9 years later today, bro? But you didn't remember to put that in your paperwork. I'm like, word though, Brian. That kind of make a lot of sense too, bro. That does kind of make sense, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So now Daniel Phillip goes up. So now what the 1, 2, 3 witnesses did, which was him, Phillips, and Cassie, they kind of like corroborated each other though. This is why I was saying, like, damn, Diddy, you in a pickle right now, bro. Pause, you in a pickle, bro. So boom. So now, but when Cassie comes up to talk, Cassie confirms it. Remember, Officer Flores, not Ortiz, Officer Flores. Cassie confirms it and says that, yes, there was a man in the room and the man was Jules. So you're like, oh, wow. So it was a dude in the room whole time. Crazy, it's nasty work. See what I'm saying? So now we on something like that now. But after the 3 witnesses, I think that's when the prosecution began to lose their case. I think that's when they began to lose the case. You know what I mean? Because I think 1, 2, 3 was good. I think 1, 2, 3 was good. So and I was like, especially after Cassie. Cassie was the strongest witness. I was like, yeah, man, I don't know, Diddy. Might be in a bad one, bro. You know what I mean? But then the prosecution began to drag the case. I think if they streamlined the case, it may be a different result. I think they took too long on this case. They took too long with certain witnesses. They took too long. This case dragged on for 8 weeks, bro. Several weeks or something like that, bro. They could have done this case in like 3 weeks, bro. And it had all the information just sharp. Boom, 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 boom. With the information in your head like that, that don't mean that the jury's kind of, I don't know. The jury didn't believe Cassie or Jane. That's what it comes down to, bro. They did not believe the prosecution's lead witnesses. They didn't believe their victims. They did not believe them. Straight. So I don't know how short of a case or if a longer case, if it had been the same thing. But what I also understand is that everybody began to get tired. I mean, I'm talking with Jerika Duncan. She's interviewing this guy right now. I talked to Jerika. Jerika's my homie. But look, I talked to Jerika. I'm talking to all these kind of people, bro. Son, the case was dragging on to a point that everybody was like, oh, man, it's the same. I'm like, yo, I go to everybody every day. Remember, I'll be outside. If I'm not upstairs, I'm outside. So I go and talk to these people like, yo, what you heard? What's your take on certain? I mean, I'll go to Jerika. I'll go to talk to her. Go to talk to these people. She talked to me. She done interviewed me. Jerika done interviewed me one day. So they'll be like, oh, my God, like, it's dragging. It's a lie. It's the same old thing. You see content creator like, yo, come on. I'm seeing Nika night. She's like, oh, same thing. Like, everybody in the same vibe. Like, bro, we in the same old thing, same old thing, same old thing. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah. And I just think they would drag the case out too much, man. I just think the prosecution really, really dragged the damn case out too damn much. Too long. Too long, man. They had custodians and all of that, bro. We was done with all of that, bro. Bruh, You got us listening to custodians. Are you serious, bro? That worked in hotel rooms. You think we care about this, bro? You think we care about this, bro? This man Diddy been on for 50 years, 40 years of life. What's wrong with you, bro? It's all y'all got? Bruh, Diddy is Suge Knight with slippery hair dancing, bruh, from New York City. This is Suge, son. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Diddy's not Suge? What are you talking about, bro? This is Diddy we're talking about here, bro. He went to war with Suge. You get this, right? Okay, cool. So, what the fuck? Okay, cool. Diddy likes baby oil so damn much. Anybody likes something, you can find something. If I like chicken so much, you could come to my house and find some chicken, probably. Most likely, right? Diddy loves baby oil so much, you can only find his girlfriend and his ex slip and slide. That's it? You can't get no other girl that Diddy oiled up. That's wild. You know Diddy oiling shit up, bro. But you only got his ex girl and his ex slip and slide. Hey, Sylvia. Right? And his ex slip and slide. Yeah, bro. A lot of them was in love with Cassie, bro. Daniel Phillips, he was falling in love with Cassie too, man. He was trying to get Cassie to leave Diddy. Like, what? For who? You? Daniel Phillips. Slow down, sir. What? Just because you got a rod don't make you God, nigga. Diddy got the bag full, and he got a Tootsie Roll, but he got a bag. Ain't. But look, straight, son. Straight. They got a bag, bro. So don't do it, bro. So Daniel Phillips was trying to get Cassie to leave him. I'm like, this guy's crazy. Nigga's crazy, bro. Try to get Cassie to leave Diddy. You bugging out. Look, man, even him, son, all of them liked Cassie and they felt Cassie in a way, son. Trust me, Cassie was gorgeous. She was beautiful. You clapping it all the time, beating it to dear life. Come on, bro. If you ever had a thing that you was bossing down, bro, bad thing, bro. Come on, brother. And you getting paid. It's like win, 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 win. Remember that song? Win, 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 win. Win, 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 win. That's like win, 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 bro. Come on, bro. You getting paid. This Cassie. You clapping it. All of this. What are you talking about, bro? Minus Diddy in the corner. Minus Diddy in the corner. That's a nice little situation you in, bro. You know what I'm saying? Minus Diddy. Well, that was a wild part too, though. When they was just talking about how the escorts was just getting ED, bro. And that shit is crazy, right? Because multiple men, like 2-3 men, son, had ED, bro. Think about this: 3-4 men having ED, bro. And these men are paid to use their pipes, bro. That is like a professional. You know the movie The Professional, when the guy's like a sniper or whatever the case may be. This man is a professional. He learned to use his ratchet. You know what I'm saying? So 9 times out of 10, now there's something his weapon jamming. He using a weapon. He can't fire a gun. How? It's a professional in the movie, bro. What are you talking about, bro? So think about the situation and the circumstances around Diddy to make you feel that way. You know what I'm saying? You do this for a living, nigga. You clap women down for a living. That's what you do, bro. But Diddy's over here got you feeling in a way that you can't perform, bro. Imagine that, bro. One escort said that nigga Diddy was beating his meat so hard, son. They said the nigga was beating his shit. You know the Biggie song? You know, Biggie said, my heartbeat sounds like Sasquatch feet. From the wood, shaking the concrete. Niggas know, right? You know when Biggie said that? They said the nigga was beating his meat like Sasquatch feet, son. Nigga Diddy was busting the shit down, going crazy. So I'm saying, I don't know, bro. I think this shit is crazy, though. Yeah, this nigga Diddy's bugged out, though, bro. Diddy's a wild boy forever, though. We're on this one, though, bro. But yo, look at the wild one. They said, Diddy said he's going to be back at Madison Square Garden. I'm like, Diddy back at Madison Square Garden? Who's going to be there, Diddy? Don't play yourself and do that shit, brother. Relax. Even though we know he could get there. He got money. He's Diddy. But I don't know how that's going to go, bro. The only way I can see him trying to do this is not by himself. He'd have to come back and bring like the all-stars of Bad Boy back together type vibes. And a couple people's gone, died, and all type of stuff. And I don't even think he could do that, man. I don't even think he could do that, bro. How is he going to do this? How's he's going to go back to Madison Square Garden and do what? What, create a new album? I don't know about that, bro. But remember, we're in a streaming world, so the shit could go platinum. People are streaming it, probably. People go watch it just to criticize it, or just to go listen to see if he's talking about things about his trial, things about Cassie, things about Jane. You may listen to it, so it may go platinum off the strength of you trying to figure out, not just because you listen to the music because you like it, no, because you want to hear if he's talking about certain things on the record. So it could help in a certain way, but I just can't see Diddy on Madison Square Garden, bro. I just can't see it. I just can't see it, bro. Yeah, man. You gotta yeah, man, you gotta pray for Diddy, man. Diddy need prayer, man. Diddy need prayers, man. That's what Diddy needs, man. Diddy needs prayer. He needs to believe in God. Stop believing in that damn devil. Salute Drobo. That's what he need to do. He need to believe in God. And yeah, have some healing, bro. Have some healing. Like they said though. He got like 70 lawsuits against him coming out. Marc Agnifilo says, you know, he feels like they'll be thrown away to the wayside one by one, a lot of these frivolous lawsuits, because he says that if they were really lawsuits that were real, he thinks that they would have made it into the criminal case. The prosecution was scoured the earth far and wide to get every single bit of evidence that they deemed could have some merit or have something, evidence of merit. And they didn't reach for any of those things. So he's like, oh, based on that, if some of those real things had credit, remember, this is violences and all these people have lawsuits against him saying that he did things to them, right? So if these people really felt, I'm not these people, the prosecution, I'm talking about those people. If those people really felt like these people had real claims to what they're saying, they would have probably brought it into the criminal case to say, look, man, this is alleged against him too as well. Boom, 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 boom. So that means that they don't really find it to be factual. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe all of the specifics. Trust me, man, they ran through a lot of that. Trust me, they didn't went through a lot of those cases to see what's going on, what could they add in, what could they enter into this trial, and they didn't do that. So once we know they didn't do that, then we know what the hell's going on. Yeah, man, that's what's going on with my man, Diddy. Yeah, though, man. Salute to all of y'all, though, man. Salute to all of y'all. Like I said, salute to y'all. Y'all want to listen to me. I appreciate that. But like I said, everybody has a voice. It's about us all lifting our voices on shit. So when you see me dropping my links in there, it's for y'all to come up and say something, speak your mind. It's what we're doing here. Okay? We're making stars every day. Okay? It's what we're doing here. We're shining together over here. It's what we doing here. Okay? Okay. That's what this is for. You have helped me to build this thing. Okay? It was a little hill, a little mound, and it's building. And as I build from it, we will be able to stand on this little hill right here and scream out. So stand on the hill with me and scream. Say what you feel about any topic, any title, anything that we want to talk about. That's what this is about. Okay? You use these times. You don't have to show yourself, right? You use these times to lift your voice and tell people what you think about the Diddy. You tell people what you think about the cases. Tell them not everything we're going to write. Some people can't see. So they ain't see your message because they're blind. So use your voice. Okay? So we have to use both. Some people are blind. Some people are deaf. So I'm using my voice. I'm using my face. I'm using every fucking thing. Okay? I want to make sure I reach everything that I'm going to reach. Sometimes. So let us do it. Remember that. Let us do it. God is the greatest. 7's in the chat. Always time for God and Jesus. God and Jesus is the greatest. If you don't feel so, that's you. I'm not knocking you. We don't hate on people on go. Okay? We don't do that. We'll pack your ass up, though. Yes, the fuck we will. Out of love, get your ass packed on up, nigga. Love, ain't hate. Pack you up straight. Okay? Cool. Learn it. Learn it before you burn it. Learn that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying, man. I just want y'all to, you know what I mean, show love to some people, man. Show love. You're a man, help some younger people. Help a younger guy. You're a woman, help a younger woman. You know what I mean? Help them to not go through some of the things that we went through. Right? Help them. That's what we're here to do. Okay? To help someone else's kid is like helping your own. maybe somebody will help your kid one day too. Sometimes. Salute to everybody in the building. You already know the vibes.
All my niggas from the Ootas, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been you been stuck in a computer.
Know that. Make sure you're always dropping likes. The poll was, do I think Diddy's gonna let me see what the poll was again. The poll was I said, Diddy, do you think is Diddy gonna walk free on October 3rd? I mean, shout out to October 3rd. That's my mom's birthday too, so shout out. But yeah, do you think Diddy's gonna walk on October 3rd? That's a big question. I don't know. But make sure that y'all are staying active. Most definitely staying active. Still early. I may do another video. I may do another live on the topic because I got some things in no jumper sectors. I mean, shout out to my people in LA and West Coast sectors. The way my channel was, some of it where it started from. So yeah, I still got some stuff to get into for y'all. And yeah, I'm just trying to give everybody the things that they need for the content, man. So salute to y'all. When I was talking about that guy Cuffy Gatlin, this guy was talking
We gonna
about.
cut all this short off.
Okay.
They've been playing all them games for the longest. Niggas hiding and ducking. The agent testified that Demetrius Flannery was aware of the deal, and that Demetrius had one request, and that his name does not appear in any documents. This was Special Agent Keith Cromer's testimony. CS1 testified, Tammy Collins, that Demetrius Flannery was aware. She signed up to be a government informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut. She had the courtroom clear it out. If you go on Pacer, pull my docket sheet, you'll see where CS1 requested that the courtroom be closed.
Got you. Let me ask you a question.
See what I'm saying? That's been dealing with Cuffy, the Cuffy Gatlin situation. I was covering the case as well. Yeah, it's a lot. Most definitely a lot when you're dealing with that shit. You feel me? Straight. Free Cuffy though. Most definitely the free Cuffy. I never called Big Meech a rat though. I did read the paperwork. I read a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? I covered the whole case. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Cuffy never was mad at how I covered it. I don't know what Meech think, but I don't think Meech was mad at how I covered it as well. You know what I mean? Read all the paperwork. But you can't say that Meech is a rat. You know what I'm saying? The case is weird though. It's weird. Tammy Cowens, which is the girl that's with 50, she's the one who did everything.
I agree. It's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
It really is, but I agree. So, we'll just let it be told when the story gets told.
Yeah,
And I'm only going to stick to the truth and keep it pushing, right?
that's it. That's all it is.
And that's Tammy Cowens. You see what I'm saying? So everything was what Tammy Cowens said. So Big Meech never said nothing. But she alleged that he's the one that made him and Suarez or whatever get the bricks to give to Cuffy, the multiple kilogram shipment supposed to be given to Cuffy because Meech is the one who met the guy in prison. And then when the guy beat his case, it was Meech allegedly through Tammy, his proxy, was meant to connect him with the plug and get him to work. And then that's the conspiracy that Cuffy Gatlin ultimately got into. You know what I'm saying? So Cuffy got a lot of things of why he says that he feels Meech snitched. There's a couple of things, a couple of reasons of why. That is something the agent testified and all that when you go into the case. And then another thing he says, like, at one point Meech called him. He said Big Meech called him and told him, yo, listen, let's get this money, yo, son, you got a vibe, yo, son, listen, I'll get with Tammy, and then Tammy hooked him up with some Spanish dude, and then the Spanish dude kind of rubbed him wrong, so he stopped talking to the dude. But come to find out that dude was like an agent or like a rat, you know what I'm saying? And he figured that out when he got his breakdown of his case. When he got his break, a couple of years later, when he got his discovery in his case, he's seen this guy. He's like, how the fuck? And he said the guy was a CS, a confidential source or confidential informant. He said this confidential source was introduced to him by another confidential source. So he's like, what? Remember, Tammy's a confidential source as well. So we know that she did introduce him to him, but he's saying, nah, man, it's you. That's what Cuffy's saying. Cuffy's saying, nah, it was you, bro. So yeah, man, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. But we're gonna figure it all out. Well, let me see what's going on with my people in the building. Shasana. Good morning, baby. What's up? Cassie, right? Cassie, see, she needs repentance. She's not a good person at all. Cassie needs therapy, bro. When you doing that sex like that, son, 3 days straight, son, and all that type of shit, son, come on, bro. You gotta exercise these demons about your body, bro. These are demons, bro. That's not normal stuff. It's not normal stuff, bro. And there's no way you could go back to some regular sex after you're doing sex like that, bro. I don't care who you think you are. You're not, bro. You not. You need Ringling, Brothers, Barnum, and Bailey, bro. You're not having that type of sex, bro. Straight. And it's to the point that Diddy couldn't probably even satisfy that shit. Straight. Straight. That's the wild one that the Scorch was saying that Diddy would keep trying to compete with them and shit. And they're like, nigga, I'm 3 times this nigga. How the fuck you gonna compete with me? But after I got off of her and she's shaking, convulsing over here, you know what I mean? This nigga gonna jump right on her like a fiend, trying to make her come or some shit. Like, bruh, relax, bruh. Of course, you could probably make her come right now, then warm the engine up. Like, relax. That's what Dave was saying. Dave is stupid though. Dave is stupid though. Straight. Dave is stupid. Yep. That's what's going on with Diddy. And allegedly him running the city. That's what's going on, bro. Nigga Diddy wild out. That's what happened. Straight. But he beat the case though. So he got the tuitions too. So we're gonna see what the hell happens with this, man. I think this was a great interview. Great interview. Nicole Westmoreland, I think she kind of spoke fast in the Trump relation to the Trump thing. I believe that they did speak to Trump though. When Mark said it, I'll go back to it in this video and show you. When Mark is saying it, his eyes is everywhere, son, because you know how to be like a body language. Yo, bro, you ain't got it. Like, when you from the hood, son, it just gives you the body, son, bro. It just, I mean, trust me, bro. You looking at someone like, trust me, son. And when he was talking to Jerika just now, and she asked him that, it was just something about his eyes, how he was looking off and on, back onto the screen, back onto the camera's view. And sometimes these are traits and things that we do when we're being dishonest. It's certain things that you do, you know what I'm saying? Naturally, you know what I'm saying? That people do. So when you start to study it, it's real shit though. You like, nah, son. Then you see what you do. So then you understand the things that you do, what you will be able to mask more, right? Because to be able to tell it, you got to be able to see it in yourself as well. Sometimes. But yeah, I think Mark's is I think that this was most definitely a great interview. Most definitely was a great interview. And why did Nicole speak so fast though? That's what she's like, no, we have spoken, because she spoke about it. She said it and then she like reiterated because the news reporter asked her again on it. But I don't know if I think that that's something that you should even say that you did speak to him, because if he is going to do it, then he going to do it. But you don't want the extra scrutiny on it anyway to even put him in a bind or a pickle to even think about not doing it. So you kind of want to lean towards it, but you don't want to speak about it openly and publicly, even though you know you spoke to him most likely behind the scenes or reached out to his people. You know what I mean? But you don't want to do it like that, bro. Yeah, I was loud, Shazana. Yeah, I just rocked it out, man. I just said, let me just get this on deck from tonight, because I got up like the fuck, and I seen this when I woke up, and I said, you know what? Let me just get this on the board now, because in the morning I don't know what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing something else, talking about something else, or I probably can even go into another breakdown of this or something else, but we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, though, you know how we do it. I'll be back with another one in a minute. You already know how we do it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to the whole Go gang. You know I love y'all. Facts of life. Facts of life. But I got mad stuff to get into. I got things like this that I want to do too. I don't want to see. I can't show y'all the things I want to do because when I show y'all, I just try to do the things I do. Okay? That's what people do. They like to bite my style a lot, bro. Which I don't care. I give y'all the sauce. But yeah, shit like this. Bong, 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 nigga, bong. Can't play me, nigga. Bong, bong. You know that guy is? I'll tell you all about him. Bong. What about him? You know this guy, Chuck Berry? All right, cool. They all got man acts. Cool. See that? That Johnson, first one. Remember him? Cool. So when I go into the man act and start breaking things down for you, trust me, son, these people can't fuck with me, bro. Journalistically, whatever, bro. Talent-wise, what the hell ever. These people cannot fuck with me. Trust me, I'm a force to be reckoned with. My God and my Jesus with me, too. Don't play with it. Trust me, you ain't gonna see nobody doing my case how I'm doing my shit. So when they try to jerk my... Don't jack my sauce, homie. Look, don't jack the sauce, homie. When I get into the man... When I get into the man act, talk to the man because the man don't understand. Talk to the man act. All right, cool. As long as you know, homie. As long as you know, homie. Yeah, I got to get back to sleep too. All right. So yeah, so I got to get back to sleep. You get your rest because I want you not that you need any beauty rest, but yeah, get some sleep until I oil you up, girl. You know how we do it. Oiling your ass up with facts. On the sandals of Jesus. Oiling her up. I love joking with shows.
My niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas from the OOTA. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the OOTA. Welcome to the OOTA. All my niggas from the OOTA. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the OOTA. Welcome to the OOTA. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying it bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, To get a kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip sit like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her. You got a jug and finesse her. I give a dick that'll change her life. You leave her change on the dresser. Shorty, a wetty, a wetty. That pussy ready, get ready. Don't wanna get ahead of myself, but I want the head for the